I'm Malachi.
Hi, Sam.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
You excited about this interview?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Okay, I'm gonna ask you. We're actually honest. We're just gonna have a conversation.
Okay.
Conversation dash interview.
All right, so ask. What you want to know?
If you had to introduce one thing to the Kansas City area, what would it be?
I would say a lot more free local things for kids to do, especially during like spring break and summertime.
So like, what would one of those things be?
I don't know, some kind of like book club or some kind of like science club, just something where, you know, all the kids in the Kansas City area can just like build relationships with other kids and be able to connect in different ways. I don't think Kansas City has enough of that kind of stuff, and like a lot of that stuff, a lot of families cannot afford. So I feel like if we have more free things for the kids to do, then, you know, this is a way that, you know, kids can learn, you know, relationships and learn how to build those relationships and be consistent in those relationships.
So you asked. So
yeah, I feel like Kansas City has a lot of fun, but it's like most of the fun is for the adults. You know, we have everything like the clubs and power and light. We don't have really anything for like the children and, you know, the families. And I feel like if we had more of that, I feel like a lot of the things that we have issues now in Kansas City, especially with the crime rate, I think a lot of that would, you know, slowly go down.
how would we raise? First thing we gotta do is make the schools better, right?
I would say 100,000%. I think that Missouri needs to start looking into these school districts more. Look at who they have running the school districts and the teachers that they're hiring. And when it comes to special education, who all they have running those programs for special education. I feel like once you put the right people in the right places, then a lot of the stuff that the schools are having will be so like problematic. And I think one of the issues is a lot of kids cannot afford to pay for their lunch, and that's another thing that needs to go away. Is like paying for lunch. Like why these kids got to pay to eat? Why must their parents must take money out of their household to feed when their kid is going to school to learn? What is the student learning by having to pay for their lunch? And then if they don't have the money for their lunch, they don't get a lunch. A basic lunch that they would get will probably be like a peanut butter jelly sandwich with like a banana or something.
So did you know that? You know I like sports, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they're bringing sports betting into, or one of the reasons, is because it's going to go to schools. So the idea is that if people bet on sports, some of that money goes to.
Are we sure that's where the money's gonna go?
Supposed to.
Because a lot of times they say the money's supposed to be going to the schools and all these different things, but there's no paper trail. There's no evidence or anything presenting like, okay, this is where the actual money's going. This is how the money is handled. There's just a lot of questions with the school districts on how they're handling things. And I think the biggest thing is the finance department. Like, these schools should have programs where if these students are not able to afford to get their school supplies or school clothes or whatever they need for school, the school should have some kind of program that families can sign up for so that their child or children can get those necessities that they need for school. And it's just like the ball has been dropped somewhere with the government, everything with, you know, the education department, and then our local departments. There's so many layers to everything. It's hard to tell who dropped the ball. And it's like there's a big miscommunication. I feel like they need to all get together and communicate how to make these things better, because if you want a kid to be able to want to come to school and want to learn, you gotta get their attention. A lot of these kids don't come from homes where, you know, they get up and have, you know, the best life. Some of these kids are struggling where their parents are struggling to keep the lights on, struggling to put food on the table. Some of these kids don't eat for days. And it's just like, when a kid is not coming to school from a happy place, that affects how their day-to-day is. It is like, take the time to learn these students, learn what their situation is, and see how you can help the student and their families.
And you would think, because I how schools will get a lot more expensive, we would be able to find better resources.
Oh yes, I feel like if they actually take the money and put the money to the resources that the schools actually need to help these students, I guarantee you a lot of the things will be going so much smoothly. Things will start going to the right direction, but they're not putting the money where the money should be going to. And if you look at like some school districts get favored more than others. So Lee Summit School District may get more favored than Kansas City School District, because Lee Summit has low crime rates, low everything. So it's pretty much like predominantly white out there, versus you go to Kansas City School District, it's predominantly black and no one's putting any funds into those schools. Only thing they put in front of those students is metal detectors. They're not taking the time to work with these students. They're not taking the time to work with the families. They're not doing anything. Versus if you go to Blues Free School District, they take the time to actually talk with the parent, talk with the student, come up with a plan on how to help this student become successful in school. And that's what we need. We need people who genuinely wants to help these kids.
And we would help with better schooling, would come better IEPs. Right?
Yes. When you have students who are struggling and that needs a 504 or IEP, those are students that, you know, have certain disabilities that hinders them for processing, learning things like a regular student. And when you have those kind of students in those kind of situations, you have to learn that student, you have to learn their disability and figure out ways where you're able to help this student become successful. Because if you just give up on that student, they're not going to become successful.
What is one way we can make the Kansas City area interact better?
I would say the racism. I feel like once the racism goes down and people be more accepting that, okay, this person is different from me and that this person is also human and they have feelings, I feel like Kansas City would be a wonderful place. I think Kansas City is slowly making those steps where they want everybody to feel loved and accepted. But when you have schools, businesses that don't want to accept people, that's where it gets hard. And I feel like there should be some laws in there where if someone is discriminated based off their race, their sex, whatever it is, that business is held accountable for their actions.
Do you think it's worse nowadays than it used to be?
Oh yes, I believe that 100,000%. I will say ever since the Mike Brown shooting and everything that transpired after that, yeah, things have gotten 10 times worse. And then when you have what these people call a president, everything is done by example. And if you're not leading a good example, then everything underneath that is not going to work. It's just going to be chaos. And that's what we're seeing now. It's a bunch of chaos.
When I ask this question,
What?
I feel like we could fix a lot of things. It's one thing we could do to make the news better.
The way we can make the news better is they put correct information out. Stop putting false information out. Tell the people the truth. Tell the people the actual facts. Not based off what a spokesperson has said or what somebody in there, whoever it is saying about that person. If you ain't spoke to that person themselves, fact check.
Do you think it would be better to start with the positive and the negative first?
I think if we talk about the positive, that's fine. But if you're going to talk about the negative, have all the facts before you put it out.
I guess what I'm asking is if we talked about the positive first, and then we talked about the negative to make it better, or not really?
I mean, not really.
No.
No. I mean, we see that every day on the news now. They talk about the negative and still, when they talk about the positive, still nothing has changed.
But if they started with the first?
I mean, if they started with it first, that may work. And it may not work. But it's just everything, because you have to look at it. When it comes to the positive things, they're speaking on the actual facts. Everything with the negative is, half of it is factual stuff and half of it is a lot of loopholes and a lot of question marks. So when you have a lot of loopholes and question marks, you can't give the people half information. So what are they going to do? They're going to make their own spin on it to get people all riled up. And next thing you know, we deal with all this chaos. So it's just like, you have to fact check when you're going to put stuff out there in the media.
So, I don't know if you know, you probably do know this. They're trying to defund NPR.
What's that?
Public radio, NPR. Because Trump
Well, the reason why is, I don't know too much about a lot of the radio stuff, but what I can say about the radio stuff is those people take the time to dig deep on these information that's being put out there by CNN and Fox News and ABC News. So when they're diving deep into these stuff and actually looking up the facts, looking up the evidence, fact checking everything, they're the first ones that actually put it out there for the people to hear. And so when people are hearing the factual information, that makes CNN, ABC, or whoever, mad. It makes the top people like, wait a minute, we sit here trying to back up Donald Trump because Donald Trump is putting money in our pocket. But when you have people who's doing radio and journalism and they actually put in the factual information, look what's happened.
Well, the reason they don't want the NPR is because it's smaller. It's public fund because they don't want
because
the little guy. They don't want the little guy to succeed.
And they don't want the true facts that they will try to do a person. If a person's doing shady business, they're gonna do everything that they can to keep that shady business shady and keep it for where people cannot talk about it. But because we have all the technology that we have and everything is online, you can Google pretty much anything now.
By the way, too much technology.
Yeah, too much technology. So since we got all that, now you have people out there themselves doing the work, looking up the evidence, looking up what's going on. So now they're putting it out there, and I mean, just look what happened to some of those people that put actual information out there. Bad things happen to them because certain people don't want certain information out there.
And they're just doing their job. If the media's job is to put factual information out there.
A prime example of when you are sitting here putting factual information, look at the lady from what news is that? I think it's like the Today Show or something.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother went missing just days after she did an interview with some of the women from the Epstein files.
What is something we can make a better awareness of?
Women.
Like something we can make better awareness of. Mental health.
I would say mental health. That's a huge thing that I'm seeing lately. Is a lot of people have mental health. It can be schizophrenia. It can be depression, anxiety. And a lot of the people that do have it, you know, they're trying to, you know, provide for themselves, take care of themselves. And I think a lot of these jobs, they don't have any care or compassion for people who have mental health. I think if these jobs take the time to understand that, hey, my employee has mental health, this is what they struggle with, so they may come into work today not themselves. So you gotta learn your employees. You gotta learn how to work with them. Learn that everybody's not the same. And that's where the awareness come in, where people are accepted for who they are. So if they're not themselves today, then you know how to work with that person. You know how to talk to them when they're not feeling themselves.
We need to educate the bosses better, educate the people better.
Yes, educate the bosses better, educate these companies. These companies need to get on their employees that they have as managers, assistant managers, and let these people know, like, hey, people have a lot of medical problems out there nowadays. And we as a company value our employees. So if you value your employees, you're going to accept them for who they are. And if they are not mentally there or they have some kind of disability, work with them. Don't go against them.
Who is your favorite black artist?
Ooh, my favorite black artist?
Two.
I would say Beyonce is going to always be my like number one female black artist. And I would say another one. Does this include rappers too?
Sure. Who you want?
Gosh darn, that's a hard one because there's two rappers that were like neck and neck where I'm just like, I would say Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion.
I've heard of Cardi B. I don't really know who Megan Thee Stallion is. I knew you would do that.
Oh my gosh, you don't know who Sir, that's a problem. That's a problem. You don't know who Megan? I'm pretty sure your sisters know who Megan Thee Stallion is.
One of them name's Megan.
I get one of the sisters' name is Megan, but I'm saying they probably know who Megan Thee Stallion is. If you don't know who Megan is, I'm gonna make a special playlist for you. Cause what?
Why does Beyonce?
Ooh, Beyonce music helped me through a lot of dark times in my life, and just not her like as a person, but her life, the way she grew up, the way she handles herself as a person, it's amazing. It is like so many people can say so many things about you that's not true, and this lady sits here and just takes it, even though she has the fans to fight for her, but she doesn't like respond, and she handles everything with so much gratitude and so much grace, and she just have that positive energy. And I've been a fan of hers for so long, and like my first concert that I went to was her Renaissance tour, and just seeing her live and just seeing just like her presence and hearing her sing so beautifully, it just made me so emotional, just crying seeing it, because it's like people really don't understand her. They really don't get it. Like, her music is so relatable. She's relatable as a human, and just everything about her is just like, yes, she's rich. Yes, she has a lot of money. Yes, she, is a big superstar, but she does everything with grace, and she thanks the people around her. She thanks her fans. She thanks the people that's working for her, and everything she does with her businesses. I mean, just look at her track record. Her track record is just like phenomenal, and the things that she puts her money towards, it's just not like for her career, but she puts money towards to businesses, and she's like, right now, her and Kelly Rowland, they're building a housing district right now in Texas for families that can't afford housing, and that's phenomenal. You don't see too many celebrities doing that.
First of all, tell me about your story.
My story. So I have schizophrenia. I have schizoaffective. I also have ADHD and PTSD, and I know I got bipolar somewhere in there.
It usually comes with schizoaffective.
Really? See, a lot of the doctors never explain it to me.
Oh.
That's good. That's good to know, though.
Okay, so the difference between schizophrenia and schizoaffective.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, why you can't be diagnosed with both, saying you're not,
Mm-hmm.
but on a short term, schizoaffective has bipolar,
Mm-hmm.
schizophrenia has more depression.
Mm-hmm.
So schizoaffective and the ADD, schizophrenia with the ADD and then with the bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
It's more up,
Mm-hmm.
down. Whereas maybe somebody with schizophrenia stays kind of more depressed, more lower,
Mm-hmm.
more here and here and here. Versus somebody with schizoaffective is here, here.
Well, I experienced all of those. I mean,
It doesn't really go from here to here. So you see, for me, example, ADD was speedy up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He knew that then.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that because I have seen your ups and I have seen your downs, and I was like, it's real.
They don't say, they don't go, they don't stay here.
Mm-mm.
They go here, and they go here.
Yeah, and then depending on how bad it's up here, your day can look like all kind of like ups and downs, all kind of like craziness. So, your emotions and everything is just going with it. And then while your emotions going with it, it's just like your body's trying to respond to it, and it's just like, ooh.
I would say you're more schizoaffective than schizophrenia. My doctor.
Your doctor would say that about me?
I'm not a doctor. I just feel that you hit more highs. Start off by walking in the door saying, how are you doing today? Helps more than just what's wrong.
I do that every day, but I go to work.
What? That's how you're doing.
I always check in on a lot of people. Even though a lot of people don't check in on me, I check in. Like a lot of my coworkers, I check in on them. For instance, I always check in on you. I'm always checking in on my family. I'm always checking in on my friends because I have learned so much about mental health and my own journey with mental health. And it's like you don't ever know what the next person is going through, and just that one check-in will brighten their day. It will make a difference in their life. But I do agree, just checking in on a person, see how they're doing, just changes things for me.
But I like sports, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Sports, a lot of times, sports, in bands, artists, they don't always set the best example.
You know what? I do agree.
So, what are some ways we can set they could bring more help to society?
There's growing up with mental health, I didn't really have a good example of how to handle mental health, what is mental health, what does it look like, what options you have out there for help. And for a long time, I didn't know I had mental health. I didn't know, didn't understand it. I'm just out here snapping on people. My mood swings are up and down. I'm getting in fights, cussing out people, doing all kind of crazy stuff. And then when you're watching television, certain shows, you're seeing people. I give you an example. You see shows like Love and Hip Hop, and you see these women and men just fighting, throwing glass at each other, and then you watch other reality shows that's like Love and Hip Hop, where these shows are entertaining, but you're seeing them fight, and that's their way of handling the situation. So for a long time, I grew up like always had to defend myself and felt like I always had to fight. So watching those things did not make my mental health better. It made it worse, and it got to the point where I declined real bad from watching shows like that. And the music, the music you listen to, some of these songs will make you want to do some crazy things to people. I mean, yes, I have listened to some songs where I'm just like, yeah, I'm about to smack that trick. You know what I'm saying? Or when I see this dude, I'm going to pull up on it. Like, what do you pull up on a person for? Just have a simple conversation. And nowadays, we're seeing a lot of these influencers and celebrities who are sitting here promoting the violence. They're promoting the going against mental health. They sit here and say, like, oh, I love people and stuff, but you're not showing it. When you're attacking someone else's success or attacking their business or attacking who they are as a person. So when you are seeing those things, especially nowadays on social media, it gets out of control. And then a lot of the things today is like there's a lot of kids out there on social media, which is, I don't agree kids should have social media. I mean, I was one of them that should not have social media. But when you're seeing things out there on social media that you're not supposed to be seeing, especially when you have mental health, that can affect you on so many levels. But I will say, I think if a lot of these people take the time to address mental health and let people know, it's like, hey, if you're struggling, reach out to somebody, reach out to someone, and show that you actually care.
If we had more love in if we had more love in our nation, it would be a better place.
Just not in our nation, in the whole world. If the world had more love, a lot of the issues that we have right now, we would not be having. And I'm gonna tell you, growing up, when you been through the things I've been through, you have to do a lot of self-reflection and do a lot of like soul searching, and that's what I did for me. I know a lot of people don't agree, but I, for once, took the time by myself and did a prayer where I was just asking God, like, what changes do I need to make in my life? Because my life is not going the way it should. And so God, put certain people in my life about a year or two ago and been working with me about mental health and have pushed me about mental health to the point now that I'm gaining more knowledge about mental health, seeing the doctors regularly and going to, our local groups like NAMI and, learning about other people's diagnosis and what their day-to-day is like. It's just like there's so many people out here struggling and they need the support. They need the love. They need the care. They need people around them that actually cares. Because when you hear how people don't have that, you can just imagine what their day-to-day is like.
What do I always say? Make sure that when I talk to you on the phone, what I always tell you.
You always tell me to show grace.
Right, and I love you.
You always tell me you love me. And then I will say, you are the type of person you will call everybody and check in on everybody. And you're the type of person that even though you may not care for a person's self, you still make sure ask if that person's doing good. Mm-hmm. And I have learned that about you and a lot of people in NAMI. NAMI was, I would say, like the biggest eye-opener for me about showing that compassion and that love and care. And just seeing the work that NAMI does, and it has got me to the point where I want to be involved more with NAMI and want to show that compassion and support to so many people, because you just don't know what a person's going through. And it's just like, there's times where you call me and you be like, how was your day? And I'm like, it was alright, it was okay. And he was like, I could tell you sad, I could tell you mad. And I was like, I'm not sad, I'm not mad. And he was like, okay. And then he was like, so how you really feeling? And then I'll let you know. And then you process with me on my feelings and how to proceed with it. Because sometimes I respond to things in ways that I want to fight a person. So, but I will say, yeah, you're definitely one of those people that always says you love that you love the person, mm-hmm. and that you care.
You have a famous person you look up?
I would say all the famous people. I would say Beyonce. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Listen, Beyonce, her music did so much for me. I mean, when my mom's dad passed away, her music just helped me through it. And growing up, I was always being bullied about, if I was gay or not. And I remember after my grandfather had passed away, and I was listening to this song by her. I think it was Love on Top, and was just listening to it, and I just felt so free. And I was just like, that's the kind of love that, I don't know, I'm smiling from ear to ear. And it just reminded me of how my grandfather loved my grandmother and the love that they had. And so then there was another song that she came out with, and the song was so deep that it had me crying, and then it helped me realize, like, I am gay. This is who I am. I don't need to hide from it. And it pushed me to slowly open up to people and be honest that, yes, I'm gay. I'm 15 years old. I don't know all the aspects to this, but this is who I am. I like guys. And for a while, only my mother and sister knew. And then that's when I slowly started to open to other people. But then it was just like, oh, we knew. How do you know? By the way you talk, the way you walk. And I was like, oh. But, coming to my mom about it wasn't easy. But my mom, she still showed the love towards me. She still showed the care. And my sister, she was the same way. She showed so much love and care and support. And I think opening up to them was the greatest thing, because it pushed me to open up to other people that I was scared to open up to. But just having that support from my mom.
My biggest goal every day. People think it's dumb, boring. I know people think it's boring. But just to be a little better every day. So this is going to sum up the whole interview. What's one thing we can do? America, the world, a better place every day.
There's so many things, but I will say this first though. I will say that it's not dumb and it's not weird that you want to become a better version of yourself every day. That is something you should be proud of, and for you to want to better yourself, that's good. And you should always have the people around you that loves you and encourage you. And my encouragement for you is to continue to love yourself and continue to do what you do to better yourself.
Do you think listening helps?
I would say 100%. I would say if it takes you listening from those around, I wouldn't say listen to everybody. Listen to those who genuinely loves you and care about you. If they're letting you know things, or they're saying that they feel things, you should listen to them. But if they don't genuinely and don't care about you, don't listen. Because 9 times out of 10, they don't really wish you good, and they don't want good for you. I would say the people that you have in your circle right now, I would say yes. I would say your parents, who I admire, like, you should listen to them. And, people like me, people like, Trina, and people, from NAMI, these are people who genuinely love and care about you. And everybody wants the best for you. And sometimes, there are going to be hard conversations. Sometimes they're not going to be easy conversations. But those hard conversations is going to help you grow and help you to what I like to tell people is sometimes you have to do a Michael Jackson and look in the mirror and just reflect on yourself. You know, take in what the people around you are saying, and just reflect on yourself.
Well, thanks for coming on, Sam. It's fortunate to see him.
Well, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.